Well, good afternoon, my brothers and sisters of Christ. This Father Tay here from Sacred Heart Church in Waseca, Minnesota. I've just been driving around a little bit, doing my errands, and stopped by for some coffee. Coffee is my thing. But anyways, what really inspired me to take a stop and to speak to you, brothers and sisters of Christ, is the call of discipleship, right? We often heard that the call for discipleship means to follow Jesus, right? To love with all of one's heart, mind, and soul. These are all great things on paper, but what does it mean for us? How do I love God with all my heart when I'm married, when I have children? I barely have time for myself. How do I love God with all of my mind, right? All I know to do is wake up in the morning, provide for my family, and go home. It seems like I don't have time to think about God at all. What about my soul? It seems like I'm just doing things reactively and trying to make things work for my family and for my friends, that I don't have the time to sit down and really think about what's going on in all of our lives. The gospel for today really forces us to slow down. It's the story about the Good Samaritan, right? The people have been called to do one thing, to love one's neighbor as oneself. They see a guy who's been robbed. They see a guy who's been hurt. They see a guy who's been attacked. But what do they all do? They all went around him as if they pretended that they didn't see him, right? And we hear this excuse so many times in our lives. It's easier if we don't get involved. Someone else will take care of it. Well, the reality is everyone else is thinking the same thing, right? The priest thought about that. The other people walking around thought about that. But guess who stopped to help the Samaritan, right? Guess who helped stop this Jewish guy from getting hurt? It was a Samaritan, a guy from Samaria, the guy that you don't talk to at all because they're of different faiths. And so we really have to stop back and think, am I just using this excuse? Why haven't I lived for my faith? What is it that I'm so afraid of, right? I think part of being a disciple for Jesus is so difficult is that we've seen so many rejections. We've seen so many failures. That's easy to look at God and be like, I'm done. Unless you ensure me a success or a victory. But that's not what it means to bring Christ into the world. We're not called to be successful. We're called to be faithful. And we have to remember that people are not rejecting who we are. It's the one who has sent us. And Jesus said this over and over in the gospel, right? Remember if you accept me, then you accept the one who sent me. But if you reject me, then you reject the one who has sent me. So my dear brothers and sisters of Christ, the world is hurting so much. We need someone who's kind, who's merciful. And that's all of us. We all have that gift. God has given us this call at our baptism, the call to holiness. But we all must do our part, right? Last weekend we heard about what it means to go out and to ask Jesus, for more laborers in the field. And so I urge all you, my brothers and sisters of Christ, don't give up hope, right? Continue to follow in Jesus Christ. Continue to lay down your life for Him, to trust in Him, and to surrender. The more that we surrender, the more that God's love will be filled in us. And what God uses is in our brokenness, He creates something so beautiful, more than we can ever imagine. So many people right now are wanting the invitation. So how do we go out? How do we strengthen ourselves first? Right? We have a relationship with Jesus, because we cannot give of what we don't have. And if the world wants Jesus, then we should ourselves be filled with His love, His light, and His help. And the way to do that is to pray every day. Second, to read the scripture, right? And then third, to go to Mass and live a holy life filled with the sacraments, going to confession, going to Mass, praying every day, right? Being faithful to your spouses, right? Being faithful to each other and the state of vocation as priests, religious, married, or even single, right? We're all called to become holy. So my dear brothers and sisters of Christ, I greatly encourage you to join me in this mission now. Our diocese is launching a new revival of the Eucharist, and I need your help. Let us show the world what the Eucharist can do for us, what Jesus has done for us in our lives. And may God bless you.